News at Noon begins now.
Coming in new today at noon, President Trump is meeting with world leaders this morning at the NATO summit. Iran is, of course, the big topic of discussion.
And our weather conditions are warm again for today, but a big-time heat wave will be heading our way by the end of the month.
Home new pickleball courts are open in Spokane. We'll show you where you can get in on some of that fun coming up. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti. It is good to see you this afternoon. Taking a look at some of the news we have this afternoon topping. President Trump is meeting with world leaders today at the NATO summit in the Netherlands and also planning to sit down with Ukraine's president as well. However, the U.S. airstrikes in Iran's nuclear sites, certainly the dominant topic of discussion. Natalie Brand is reporting right now from the White House.
We hear it was obliteration. It was a virtual obliteration.
President Trump is refuting an initial classified assessment by the Defense Intelligence Agency that found Iran's nuclear program may have only been set back by a few months, according to sources familiar with its contents.
It's gone for years. Very tough to rebuild because the whole thing has collapsed.
Officials familiar with the report also caution it's an early assessment that could change.
They said it could be very devastating, very serious.
Moderate to severe, and we believe far more likely severe and obliterated.
Later, the Israelis backed up the president, saying the U.S. and Israeli strikes set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons by many years.
The devastating U.S. strike on Fordo destroyed the site's critical infrastructure and rendered the enrichment facility totally inoperable. It was devastated.
The conflict with Iran dominated the initial hours of the NATO summit, but now Russia's war on Ukraine is back in focus. President Trump met behind closed doors with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
What I took from the meeting couldn't have been nicer, actually, but I took from the meeting that he'd like to see it end. I think it's a great time to end it. I'm going to speak to Vladimir Putin and see if we can get it ended.
NATO's Secretary General also announced that members have agreed to increase spending on defense to at least 5% of their GDP. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
President Trump says the U.S. will also be speaking with Iranian officials soon about a new peace deal. Yesterday, KREM 2 News spoke with Eastern Washington's 5th District Representative Michael Baumgardner about the situation going on in Iran.
If that's the case, what course of action should the U.S. take? And I ask because President Trump said today Israel should not expect any more offensive military action against Iran from the U.S.
Well, the sites have certainly been significantly degraded. There's some disputes about the accuracy of this report, but certainly Iran has a lot less of a nuclear program today than they had 2 weeks ago. But you know, that can always be reconstituted. America needs to maintain vigilance and have all options on the table. I mean, this Iranian regime is not going to have nuclear weapons. That's the key takeaway from what happened over the past few days. But it doesn't mean the Middle East is suddenly a peaceful place. There's going to
And that was just a portion of our interview with Representative Baumgardner. You can catch the whole thing by going to our website. We've posted it on KREM.com. All right, just a few minutes past noon right now. Temperatures are warming up, and by the beginning of next week, they should be downright hot. So we're going to check in with meteorologist Thomas Patrick. Thomas, you're outside right now. Pleasant afternoon, but we do have some pretty significant changes in the forecast.
Yeah, the difference between this week, which is the comfortable week of summer, and next is going to be pretty significant for us. I always love it when the high temperatures can hit the mid-80s. That's basically what we want to shoot for on any given day in the summer season because it's warm, but comfortably so. It's actually warming up really fast here. 77 degrees as of the noon hour here. Some fair weather cumulus clouds above my head, so even though this live picture might look a little bit hazy way off into the distance, I can certainly tell you from our vantage point here, plenty of blue skies to work with overhead. Should get into the low to mid 80s this afternoon. Get maybe a little bit of cloud cover at times, might just take the edge off in what should be a picture perfect summer-like day. But the high heat is eventually going to pour on here. So while we'll find plenty of sunshine this afternoon, it's this. A big time heat wave is going to be impacting the Pacific Northwest, and that will result in temperatures not only in the 90s, but 100s for parts of the region. The big question is, when does it arrive and how long is it going to last? And that is what we're going to be working through in your full forecast coming up. That plus the Hoopfest forecast is all in just a few minutes.
All right, my friend, thank you. The East Valley School District Board voted unanimously to put a bond on February's ballot. It would be a $220 million bond, and that means homeowners would pay a total of $1.96 per $1,000 of assessed home value. So voters are already paying the EVSD levy, but that expires coming up then in January. So let's take a look. If your home is worth $350,000 or so, you'd pay about $36 more a month if the bond passes. The school its high school and middle school buildings. Both are more than 60 years old. They would also use money from the state's school construction assistance program to pay for the buildings. EVSD says they would build the new buildings next door to the current schools, and that's really so students can continue to learn while construction was underway. Again, this will be up for vote coming up in February, and bonds need a 60% yes vote in order to pass. And dozens of people across Washington state are out thousands of dollars because of scams. The King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office says scammers impersonating federal agencies are demanding money, and unfortunately some people are giving it. The scammers are texting, calling, and using pop-up alerts on computers and emails. They are posing as bank officials or federal agencies like the Social Security Administration, urgently telling people that their account has been compromised. The messages say they need to act fast and send money in order to fix the problem. And so far, 47 people have fallen for the scams here in Washington state, and that's what they know about. In fact, one person lost $870,000 to that scam. And a new round of scams are showing up on text messages claiming they are the Washington State Department of Transportation. These texts are not from WSDOT. People should file complaints with the FBI Crime Complaint Center or the Federal Trade Commission if you indeed get them. WSDOT updated its website with a yellow banner warning people about the scams. Deputies say don't click on any link, and again, delete and report the message. We've seen a lot of those going around. The Spokane Valley Fire Department is promoting community safety by giving out some free goodies. We love free. You can pick up free 4th of July yard signs at all Spokane Valley fire stations, reminding people to prioritize safety over the holiday weekend. Spokane Valley Police will have 2 patrol officers working overtime specifically to help out with firework-related incidents. Remember, fireworks are not legal in Spokane County.